damn stupid self. So now I'm about to.
Well, that's upsetting. But hey guys, this is Mocha from DieTyeRadio.
You funky dog here. I didn't know we was live.
Yeah, he real shady over there. He real shady.
I'm
But
not
anyway,
saying.
okay. So that was
Talk
okay.
about your
Never mind.
potatoes.
Anyway, hey guys, this is DieTyeRadio, and how is everybody doing today? Everybody got your water, your little snacks. What you got? Anyway, not the point. We're coming in. Everybody, introduce yourself.
Hey y'all, it's Kayla. You can follow me on Instagram at Kayla Moon. KAYY, I think underscore LAMON. But yeah,
Handle your own Instagram, bro.
first of all, I had to change it.
Shit.
Your
I
turn.
do it every day.
Mine's at the bottom, but y'all can follow me ZHUNNO underscore. You know where to go. Yo, let's go.
And oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Moko.
But it's just gonna be us three today. Everybody else is probably might join in, pop in eventually sometime during our live. So be on the lookout for them. But since they're not here, all of our information is down below. And let's get started. So today's topic is about the purge law in Chicago, Illinois. And if you don't know, it's not really a purge law. They're not freaking doing the purge. No, they're not going to do
About
that.
the purge. What is that? You gotta explain it.
I'm gonna explain it, sir. I'm
But
definitely
you ain't
going.
explaining. You just saying it ain't the
I
purge.
was
And I
about
don't know what the
to.
purge
I was
is.
just gonna tell you not be
Teacher,
afraid.
I
It's not
want to
actual
know what the
purge.
purge is, teacher. That's like skipping. That's like how the teachers be skipping over Black History on when they do the history part. They just be like, "Yeah, it's Black History or slavery." Wow. Okay, what's next? We go. Nah, I want to know about slavery. Tell me about it.
Well, if you let me explain, just
What
the
you
people
think?
on social media call it the purge law, but it's actually called the Safety Act. Safety Act, might I say. But basically, it's just them eliminating cash bail to eliminate overcrowding and falsely accuse people to go to jail. Like they can't hold you for 24 hours, is it? Hold up.
I think over like
48.
I think that's pretty cool because like
Okay.
in a sense it's like a war on poverty. Like if you don't got the money then you gotta sit there. But if you do have the money then you get to get out. So I like the fact that like it seems like everybody gets to be on the same playing field. At least for like the starter point of it. Now you did some shit, some stuff,
Mhm.
you gonna go to jail and do your time. But
Yep.
you know, in the meantime, between time, everybody can
Now, granted, this only applies to people who have done second degree murder, arson, drug deduction, homicide, robbery, kidnapping, and active battery.
What do you mean?
So if you've been like accused of these crimes
Hell.
and they try to arrest you, you don't have to do cash bail. I'm just gonna leave that alone.
Continue what you saying.
Basically, they can't hold you for these crimes if they're accusing you of them. If you get what I'm saying. But Z, what's your opinion on this?
You just kind of just said it. They can't hold you if you. It can't accuse you. So I'm not. It's. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of really direct. So I don't really feel no way about it. There's only one state doing it. It's in Chicago, ain't it?
But since they can't hold you for 24 hours, if you
Was
are
it
convicted,
24 or 48?
huh?
Was it 24 hours or 48?
Okay, hold up. Give me 2 seconds because I got to do some scrolling. Yeah, it's 24 hours.
They're saying they can't detain you for 24 hours. So like, if someone did something, then yeah, you got ample way to run away. So like, I feel like yeah, that might be a problem, but
Yeah, because it don't take that long to freaking get in your car and drive somewhere. Realistically, but
Don't disagree with that.
there's pros and cons with it, obviously. If you're innocent from your crimes, then realistically you have no reason to run or hide. You can just go try to do your research to get a lawyer and try to defend yourself as a person, like most people have been doing.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you are convicted of these crimes, do the same thing rather than run.
True. True. I
But
feel what you're saying.
the whole premise, the reason why this actively happened was because officers, like a bunch of officers, were falsely accusing these innocent people and just throwing them in jail. And then they would come out days later showing that they're
Days.
innocent, proving.
She said days, y'all. Days. I mean months later,
Well, yeah,
years later.
And then people don't get their time back, their jobs back. They lose a lot of stuff, and it's just like, oh well, at least you don't get more time. And it's like you didn't really deserve the time that you got, so that's not fair.
yeah, that's definitely not fair. And then I don't think that the officers who falsely accuse these people actively got any kind of punishment. Realistically, it was a slap on the wrist, maybe some suspension time, but that's it. And honestly, I think it should be a harsher punishment for officers to falsely accuse somebody without real standard evidence. And I get it, evidence is very tricky and hard to come by, especially when you're on a crunch time and you're trying to give justice to the victims. I'm talking about like homicide and then second degree murder and homicide victims. So trying to bring justice to those families of the victim, it's kind of stressful. It's also stressful because you have a murderer on the loose who possibly is going to do it again.
It's a
I
lot to
feel
look
that.
at, though.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot.
I feel that. Hmm. So what y'all think? Or at least what you think, Marco, about that?
Uh, I think with the homicide and second degree murder, maybe not. I mean, here's the part where it's tricky. You have several suspects and you bring them in and you hold them, right? To try to prevent any more casualties. There's a chance that none of the suspects that you have are actually the killer. And you're wasting time by letting them sit there when, one, their jobs and their credibility is going down the drain. However, there is also a possibility that one of the suspects that you have is your killer. It's just, it's a lot, especially when you have people who deal drugs. Getting them off the street does not stop the business. That's evidence. I mean, not evidence, but that's obvious. Just because the head of the company or the head of the branch is in under custody, there's always someone who's going to be underneath them who's going to try to run the business or take it. That can turn into a good thing where they fight over the business and the money, or it actually doesn't do anything. Plus, those people who have that kind of money will definitely buy themselves out. They have the money to do it. That's pretty much it. But
But wouldn't a good argument against that, at least in my opinion, would be saying would wouldn't that make you though feel as if that would make officers or never not necessarily not, I'm sorry, not necessarily just officers, but also detectives would be actually having to do their job a lot more. Not saying they're not doing their job, but for instance, like I said, there would be a lot of people. They're you just said it earlier, overpopulating. So that's letting you know off rip. There's a lot of people they're putting in prison and or putting in
mhm,
jail over petty crimes. I'm not
mhm,
saying homicide or anything like that, but those are obviously not petty. I'm talking about the other crimes that they have on that list that are very petty. So it's like, okay, and even on homicide and this and the third, where you're putting people in jail who may not have had nothing to do with this certain crime. So now, and there's no law about giving you back anything necessarily about, okay, we got the wrong guy. We're gonna give you 100 grand and this at the third and tell your job and to tell the people so you can get your life back. Like, no, you're kind of just
Asked out.
asked
Yeah.
out. And it's like, okay, what the hell am I supposed to do? Like, now all of a sudden you it's like, okay, is it, to me, I feel like, yeah, I get it where everybody sees the outskirts of it, but in the background of me, I also feel like, and this is just my opinion, where it's like, okay, can you also sit here and look at it and be like, could it possibly be that we're putting people again, even when it came to, I don't even want to bring this into the same conversation, but even back when I remember when we had the conversation about the abortion thing, I told y'all it's gonna make a lot of people go now have to take a lot of accountability on what they doing now. So now it's like, even with this situation, it's like, okay, you're gonna have to, those people, those officers and those police departments and everything, gonna have to take a lot of accountability on who they're grabbing. Because yeah, you're gonna have to take 24 hours, but because most of the time it only take them a couple hours before they just, usually they just grab anybody who looks like the person lately. That's who
Mhm.
you see. A lot of times this law was really to prevent the exemptions of a lot of times, because it was what happens is the stories that you see online are what you usually see. Though those are the exemptions that you see. Like I said, where it's like, okay, I see someone outside, you fit the description, so I'm gonna detain you until this at the third. That don't normally happen a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It do it happen, yes, but it doesn't happen a lot where you just randomly walking around outside and someone and you're getting detained for a law. But
Mhm.
it happens, and you see the stories where they're frequent to the point where people are seeing it online. They're making these headlines to the point where it's like, all right, we have to make sure people don't have to fall into that line. So it's like, to me, it's like, okay, which can we? Like I said, to me, it's both sides. Where it's like, all right, you can sit here and say 24 hours. Yeah, it's a lot. And when I agree, 24 hours is a long time for someone to get. You can get out of Dodge in 24 hours. Like, put your foot on the gas, you out of there. But
Mhm.
at the same time, it's like, all right, especially if they get out of Dodge or you leave the city, it's not like I can't. It now turns into a federal thing. So now
Mhm.
all of a sudden, when you leave the city, FBI is on your case now, because now you didn't left sick, you didn't left the state lines.
Mhm.
So now all of a sudden, you gonna have the FBI looking for you, or see some. All of a sudden, it's a bigger thing. So now, like, all right, you can sit here and say, okay, you can leave the city, but then, like I say, you got other factors that comes into play with it, where it's like, all right, you can do one thing, but then there's parts of it that also come. That's why I'm like, okay, is it just making people do their job more? And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, we're gonna use the most. Remember, I told y'all people use the most extreme things to get their point across.
Mhm.
Like, it might be, in my opinion, that might be that. Like, what do you guys think necessarily on that?
I think that
I
if
think.
it's used for like, I think that ultimately the idea of it is a good idea, but we just have to see how it's executed.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that it's a good thing because it gives people a chance to like redeem their normal lives faster and quicker versus like having to sit and then like they didn't do it and now trying to go back and have like to pick up where they left the pieces. But then I
Mhm.
also think like maybe it'll, like you were saying, maybe like they'll be forced, not forced, but like pushed a little harder to like kind of do their jobs a little more, a little better, I guess, so that like innocent people aren't being falsely accused.
Mhm.
And then I even think along the lines, it was something like, usually people who are out on bail don't get themselves back into some of the same trouble that got them on bail. So like,
Mhm.
They
because I
try
think
not.
the argument was, huh?
You try not to, but you do.
Yeah.
Most
So
people
I
do.
think that one of the biggest arguments was like, oh, like they're usually not repeat offenders while on bail. They usually try to stay out of stuff because they were like, oh, if they're in trouble for XYZ, they'll just keep committing crimes while out on bail. Usually they don't. Um, I don't. I
I
like the fact
mean,
it's a little gracious. I don't feel like we see a lot of grace in law enforcement. So it just seems like
No.
so I
Mhm. Uh-oh. I think we lost him.
got my
But
potatoes. I'm a potato. You ever saw that TikTok and be like, I'm a tomato? No, I think he'd be like,
I'm a
I'm a
potato.
potato. I'm a
I'm
potato. Now I'm a tomato. I thought I was a potato.
a But to answer his question, I think it could be a good thing. It's just I don't understand. I don't quite see how the detectives will be taking accountability for the lack of just selecting anybody, in my opinion, because they can still do that. Be like, oh, this person did it, and just gather a bunch of evidence that claims that they did it. But yeah, again, they still have to do their job, which is still accountability. Is a consequence, and it's a little bit of a consequence, but not really. Um,
Yeah,
but I
because now the pressure might get to them, and now they might just start picking people because like
yeah,
it's,
because the thing is, they still have to obtain the public eye. They still have to be viewed as a good. They still have to be trusted by society. That's the thing. So, most people be like, why haven't you caught this person yet? What's going on? We ask a lot of questions out of fear. So it's just like, we don't really know what's going on completely. We don't know how it's going to be, um, how it's going to be done properly. It's just a lot of things. We just have to see it play out, like Kayla said.
but I
And
the idea of it is very nice.
yeah, I think if they play it out properly to the point where it's fair for both sides, for both the Department of Justice and for the citizens that they serve, I think it would be a beautiful thing. However, I know some people might take advantage of it, but then again, it just makes them do their job and makes us feel like we're trusted. I mean, not trusted. We can trust them a little bit more.
Yeah. I think it's a good reinforcement for like the public. Not that like I don't know. I feel like a lot of people feel like, law enforcement is this, law enforcement is that. Like government hasn't really always had a good look, and I'm not saying one thing will change all of that, but I do like the fact that whether it is regardless of the color of the people, that it's a thing to where like it's allowing grace for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that.
Because it's like a stepping point. This is a start to actively getting us to trust each other
Like
again.
people make mistakes, officer makes mistakes. Like we're all human, and sometimes humans do stuff. And I'm not saying that like we should keep like tapping them on the wrist, but I think some people deserve just a tap on the wrist. Like shouldn't have to
Some
do.
people can learn the first time.
Yeah, and for the people that don't, the system will figure them out.
Mm-hmm.
But for the people that can learn, I think people deserve second chances, and I think this is nice.
Yeah. Z, now that you're back and with us in full, healthy, hearty.
I don't know what y'all talking about. I don't know.
So you didn't black out just there? Okay.
I did
Uh,
black out, but what y'all talking about? I don't know
hmm?
what y'all talking about.
Because
Okay.
you missed it a little bit, just a little bit.
I only heard a little bit. I don't know what's going on.
We were just basically answering your questions and feeling like this is a stepping stone for us to gain more trust with the government. This ain't gonna give us complete trust, but it's a start. It's a start.
Okay. So then let me ask this question to y'all. Do you think it's gonna be because it's only in Chicago right now? Do you feel like it's gonna move to different cities? Like, what
I
do
think
you?
depending on how well it do in Chicago, then maybe like it can be something for everybody. But I think that since Chicago is the first ones doing it, I'm not expecting them to get it right. And so I just hope that nobody else is expecting them to really like get it right. Like it's the first, it's new. We
Mm-hmm.
don't really know how it's gonna work. We just hope that it's for the betterment of people. Um, But if it's for the betterment of people and it works, then I would like to see it implemented other places.
Mm-hmm. I can agree to that. Did that answer your question, Z?
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
That's
Okay.
what
Mm. I turn it over, Google. I'm sorry.
oh, potatoes.
Um,
I missed it. I got my
Oh, you got your
potatoes.
potatoes now. You got
you
your
got a
potatoes.
potato.
I'm a potato.
Sat here and cried about your potatoes before
I ain't,
live. Man.
that's not
She
even.
wasn't crying about her potatoes. She was ranting about her potatoes. There's a difference.
It is big difference. I can show you some crime later on in life, not in this.
So
But
then
yeah,
let me ask this question too. What if you had to pick certain cities that you think would need it the most, what cities do you think would need it the most?
more urban cities, and yes, I know exactly how that sounds, and
Like
I
who?
like I think Detroit, like main city, like big cities. So like Baltimore, Philly. Well, I know that's like all one and the same, but like I think certain places need it more, like
But
Cali.
you do realize that those cities that you saying, or like big cities that you saying, is also places where the most crime happens at, right?
Yes, I know.
Okay, so you willing to let people off where the most crimes at for 24 hours?
What I'm saying, okay, so what I'm saying is like because yes, a lot of crime happens in those cities, but I think those are like major crimes. Like what about that kid that steals something and he don't got like a family contact and they don't like handle him right and he's just like missing and in jail for 3 months. Like so not necessarily like for the bigger cases, but for like the smaller cases and the people that like to where like poverty is just like they can't bail themselves out, but it was like a petty thief, like oh I stole some food from the grocery store, or I stole wipes for my kid, or like something like that. Now, if you on bail when you didn't kill somebody, then I would really like for the detectives of that team or whatever to like really try to do their best.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you were saying early, 24 hours, anybody can go anywhere. Okay. And I think that putting bail out, I think I was reading something, and bail is literally like basically like just to make sure that you come back to court.
Yeah, you got to come back to court. So it's not like you get out on bail and then you just get to go free will with your life. No, you have to come back to
And
court.
then
That's
if
just
you
letting
do,
you out of jail. That's
them
all.
people gonna come looking for you, so you ain't gotta worry about it. Then it's gonna be a lot bigger.
Bail bond, you gotta get a bail bondsman and all that. So you gonna have to. They gonna be on your butt. They're not just gonna let you go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because like I think a lot of our youth, like I'm not gonna say they don't know, but a lot of them think that they're a lot harder than what they are. So I think that like if they did get detained and then were let go, maybe that'll like set a little bit of them straight. Or for like the first offenders, like it'd be like, okay, that was dumb. Maybe I shouldn't. And I honestly feel like maybe it'll save a couple people.
I don't think so. I think our generation indulges in wanting to be toxic and wanting to be gangsters. We've been since a kid. We all wanted to be gangster.
All we heard was gangster
It was
songs.
gangster music, gangster everything. Everything was gangster.
I got a little bit of hope left in humanity. So
That's
I mean,
perfectly fine.
you
It's
got a
good
little
to
bit
have
of
hope in humanity.
a little
However,
bit of delusion in reality. Be a little realistic. Don't say you got it.
no, but here's the thing. Yes, I think there's some people, they're like a decent amount of people are stuck in their ways and they're not willing to change. And then I think that there's some people who do stuff because of their environment and that ultimately like if they get to see like what life can be like if they continue, then they'll stop.
See, here's my thing, right? I get the whole environment thing that people use, but it's hard to say that when we made that a part of our culture. We made that a
I'm
part
not
of the
denying that.
American culture, where everything that the poverty, everything that we were seeing that was happening, people in poverty areas, we created that into becoming the culture. So now you got rich kids sitting here telling you that they got problems and dealing with the same issues as someone else who's not in poverty. And now at this point, you don't know who in poverty for real no more because everybody's telling you they dealing with the same shit. So it's like,
realistically,
all right, if
everybody
I'm sitting here
has
saying,
over
okay,
everything.
I'm the product of my environment. Well, it's like, all right, how do I know where your environment is really that bad? You could tell me, oh, you from prime example, I'm from Dallas, but turns out you actually from Frisco. So you
Well,
15
regardless,
might be a little bit further outside the city. So you're not even from Dallas for real. So it's like, all right, how am I supposed to take you serious? You lived in the suburbs. Now all of a sudden, nah, I got it out the mud, this and the third. I really got hard. No, you didn't.
well,
But
poverty
because it's so part of your culture, now all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, everyone's saying that they're from their environment, they're the product of their environment. So it's like, how can you use that as an excuse if we are going to use it?
I think that not only is poverty a place, but poverty is a mindset. So you can have all of the money in the world, and that doesn't take away certain poverties that you may experience in life. Money doesn't suffice life. Like, yes, you can buy things, but what about the things you cannot buy? And I tell people all the time, money doesn't really change who you are, it magnifies it. And a lot of people think that money is their problem when it's not. They just never deal with themselves. So by the time they get money, like you're just so unhappy with it because you run out of stuff to buy, and it's just like that doesn't fix the root of the issue. um and I think that ultimately, like, you can be rich and not get attention, and so you want to like rob stores, or you're like getting it, like you could meet like a dude or a girl that's into some shit, and now you're into that shit because that's the person you love and you lack the attention, and so now you're into different shit now. But you can come from family with money, so I think that it's very situational. But
No, it's not. It's not.
and then
We
to say
just
that
try to
like this
make
is
it.
culture
We
we
try to
made,
make it situational.
I think that I won't say this is culture we made. I think that a lot of people did come from a lot of horrible situations,
No,
and
no,
they made it
cap.
relatable to those people in those situations.
That's cap.
And instead of like soaking and basking in like, oh, this shit
That's
is so
cap.
bad, they were just like,
Cap.
hey, yo, I grew tough skin because of XYZ, and then everybody just wanted to have tough skin.
That's cap. That's that
Okay.
Disney fairy tale cap. Everybody know it's cap.
Okay.
It's
Explain
cap.
how it's
Majority of
happened.
people, majority of people are in middle class. So there's not the majority of people in poverty are not even are not part of the majority of people of the society. The majority of society are in middle class. So we can't sit here and say, okay, I've dealt with all these again, and that's the issue that I also have with people where you're not the only person dealing with shit. So it's not like you can sit here and say, okay, my like again, I'm the product of my environment. Where it's like, all right, your environment might not have been as bad as you think it was. You just told yourself that, and again, especially in our community, we are very much wanting to be a part of oppression so bad because that has been our story for so long. So we'll sit here and use it, and people will just be like, all right, well, shut up, and we won't say nothing because y'all right, yeah, you were oppressed. So I guess we can't. Bro, eventually it's like, all right, I'm not, but again, I had this conversation with someone, right, where someone we was having a conversation about who a refugee, what a refugee was, right, and they would say, oh, the Jews from this era were refugees. Like, prime example, there was saying the Jews from the Moses area versus the Jews from the Jacob era were it's a long story, but like I said, we're refugees, right? And my argument was like, no, you can't call Moses era refugees because they weren't the refugees. When you look up the word refugee, it's telling you someone who was oppressed, some who left their home, was forced out of their home due to oppression, acts of war, or natural causes, right? Like as in the world stuff like that, right? So when the first group of Jews, a generation of Jews that moved to Egypt before they became in slavery, left out of Canaan because of famine, right? So when they left and went to go to Egypt, that's when they got into slavery in Egypt, where they had those years, everything like that. And that's when Moses' generation came later. So I was like, hey, yo, you low key can't say that because a lot of their generation after Jacob were born into that situation. Kind of like how we were born in America. I can say I'm a refugee of America because I was born in America. So it's like I can't sit here and say, well, I'm oppressed by something that I was born into since I was in birth. So it's like, no, this is just part of what I'm born into. Eventually, it's not oppression no more. It's just my life. But we keep using the whole situation of, well, my environment and this and the third. It's like, bro, you grow out of your environment. You either grow out of that or you deal with whatever consequence coming. That's like remember I told y'all this. I guess if I'm saying if I'm selling drugs from in the 80s, right? And I was back in the 80s, I was selling drugs and everything like that. And I get stopped by the police and they tell me, oh yeah, we got you for this. We finna take you down for 20 years, 30, 40, 50 years. And I tell them, well, I'm just a product of my environment. That's what we doing out here with everybody else sell drugs. So I sell drugs to make money too. They go look at me and be like, okay, go do these years then, since you want to go do that. Like, I can't use that as an excuse no more after a while. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I think you misunderstood what I was saying. I don't think it's an excuse. I think it's a fact. A lot of people deal with certain shit, and I'm not saying that because they deal with it that they're like. Here's my thing: if nobody ever showed you how to wipe your ass, would you know how to wipe your ass? Right. So we be wanting people that ain't never seen good examples of nothing to be like, oh yeah, I seen this. Let me go out and be better. Let me go out and do this. Let me go out and do that. And to a lot of these people that are in those places, they ain't never seen decent shit. Like whether that's mindset, money,
That's
stability, nothing. And so it's just like I
I,
think that
I get what you're saying, Kayla. I really do. And then on top of the fact, to add on to your statement, when they try to do better, their whole society, their whole community gets on them for trying to do better. So when they try to get out of the situation that they're in, be trying to show people like, hey, I'm about to do X, Y, and Z, go to college, get out of this whole situation, they'll have so many naysayers and doubters, and sometimes even their closest people that they love and trust will get on them and be like, no, you can't do that. You ain't gonna make it.
it's like the crabs in the barrel. Like
But I
you
get what
can't
you're saying.
see you
However,
can't see
you
outside of that little bucket to know that there's a full ocean above you because all you've ever seen is that bucket. And I'm not saying because all you've ever seen is that bucket is an excuse for you to pull everybody down and to be those crabs in that bucket, but to understand the mentality of those people, like no, like it's just a repeating cycle because unless you learn and out and unlearn, you're gonna keep doing the same things because how like yeah, society may say that it's wrong, but if that's all you've ever seen and all you ever done, that's what you're gonna do. So I'm not saying that
and that's
how
your
how
I'm not
problem.
saying
That's
and
no,
it
really
hold
is their
that's
on,
how
hold
it
on,
responsibility.
is.
hold
That's their
on. No,
responsibility, but I'm not
no.
saying it's an
That
excuse at
is
that point.
your
It's still a
problem.
fact though.
The world does not owe you understanding. It's not their fault that you're in the bucket. You can't tell the world that they're in the bucket when they're the fucking world. You're in the bucket. You gotta get out your bucket and realize now that you just jumped out you just got out your bucket and realize that oh shit, this is a fucking world out here. I have to find my spot in this world, which means that you're going to have to fight for your spot, just like everyone else do. You can't this. That's what I'm saying. This whole thinking of my the I need sympathy at the situation. It's not gonna help me because
That's what
everyone wanted
No, no,
sympathy.
no. I
Hold
get
on, hold on.
sorry.
Everyone wanted everyone wants that feeling. Everyone wants to sit here and be like, okay, uh, the environment and everything of my issues is why I'm so hurt and why I'm so down. So dang, I can take that. You can only do that for so long. After a while, it's like, bro, shut up. The world's going to show you dead to your face. Shut up. So it's either you grow from that and understand. That's why I said eventually, after a while, once you start to grow over, you start to realize that's just part of your life. You can't just sit here. You can't dwell on something that's already. That's like prime example. You can't get mad about racism if racism been here before you was born. It was here when you was born. It was here before you was born. It was here after you died. So you can't sit here and say, "Oh, well, I'm mad about the fact that the fact that I'm going to." Where you already been dealing with it. So you have to move over that. You can't if you sit there and dwell on the fact that there's somebody out here racist. Every time you hear somebody racist, you gonna lose your mind. You'll never grow from it. Like you just said, you'll never grow. So you have to jump out of your bucket and understand that, hey fam, I'm not the big fish in the pond no more. So therefore, I have to grow myself as the fish. I gotta start small. I gotta learn. I gotta understand how to do this. I can't sit here and argue about. I can't sit in my bucket forever. Because of course, once you sit in your bucket forever, eventually you gonna get too big for your bucket.
Mm-hmm.
And by that time, you gonna be trying to dig out your bucket, but you too big. So now you stuck. And nobody got a space for you for your big ass, this big ass fish. So sooner or later, you got to grow that for yourself to understand. Okay, bad. Like I gotta. I'm the product of my environment. Guess what? So it's he, she, he. But again, everyone's dealing with their own issues in their environment. There's certain things that a rich person would have. Prime example, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, that whole TV show where you got two different lives of people. You got Will and you got Carlton. Deal with two different things. And there's certain things that meet dead in the middle where everyone still has to deal with. You still got to grow yourself as a person. You still got to be a better man, learn how to be a better woman, get you a career, figure out a job, find you a place to live. They still had to do it. So it's like you're not doing nothing that no one else hasn't done. So it's like, bro, you gotta get out that bucket. You gotta break that glass, that mirror that's in front of you, telling you that, okay, it's just me. But break the mirror, and you will find out it's a whole round of world around here of people looking out that same mirror that you was just looking out and just broke that glass.
Mm-hmm.
Now walk through the wall and figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So initially, people need strength to actually accept that they ain't the big fish. There's a whole world out there. And yes, everyone's a product of their environment. However, if you allow that to be your downfall, if you allow that to victimize you, that is your own fault. You have to be self-aware. But again, to bring this back to our current topic that we were supposed to be talking about, initially, it doesn't matter if you're a product of your environment. If you are convicted of a crime and if you get arrested, whether you did the crime or not, you know what you are supposed to do. You know you're supposed to get a lawyer. You're not supposed to tell them nothing. If you didn't know, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be and will be used against you in the court of law. So again, don't say nothing until you get your lawyer. Ask for that phone call so you can call a fucking lawyer. If you got one, that is. But realistically,
The court reports you one. Okay.
they can. They should.
They have to.
They do.
It's the law.
Yeah, I know.
The Miranda rights, they have to.
But sometimes they don't give you a good one.
They job.
I know. That's why I said get your one a lawyer. Get yourself a lawyer. A good one that's gonna actively stand for you.
I agree with that too.
So
anyway, a lot of people can't pay for that.
I understand that. That's why you should always have an emergency fund. Handle your finances. But again, we all agree that this could potentially be a good thing for Chicago. And it is possible that other states will adapt.
I ain't say that. I ain't say it might be. I don't know.
It's possible.
I don't know. I think
it's possible that it's going to be a good thing. However, if Chicago is able to successfully do this, I think other states will actually take on this idea and use it for the cities that they think that really needs this. My opinion, I don't think Atlanta needs this. Yeah, no, Atlanta don't need this law. That's my personal opinion.
Why not?
We got way too many kidnappers and people be ending up missing. We have people who can't drive, a lot of wrecks. We got some drug dealers.
Y'all fucking highway is fucking horrendous.
I know. That's
y'all
why
not the only ones, but y'all these bro. I don't know. Like, I feel like nobody's highway is as good as Florida's highway. Like, I'm just sorry. Like, everything on Florida highway is just straight to the point. Like, y'all is crazy. Like,
we turn, we curve, we have multiple ways to get to one direction.
Louisiana's is crazy. Alabama's is crazy. Like, everybody's turns, and I feel like just I-95 is like the best freaking highway ever. Like, in my opinion, it just goes straight. It don't do nothing else. get off on the exit, you good.
Well, we
Like,
understand that, sir, and we're glad that
I
you
just
love your highway of Florida. However, I will agree with you. Florida, I mean, highway in Georgia, in Atlanta, especially, that ain't it. That ain't it right there. Yes, we have ways to get to one destination, but it sucks. I'll be missing turns.
especially in Atlanta. Oh my god.
Oh my god. But
And
anyway, back to our topic. So, anybody want to play Kahoot and test how much we know of our laws?
we do not have Kahoot.
Kahoot? We don't have Kahoot?
No, we do not.
Oh well. Maybe next time. Anyone else want to talk? Have any further questions, Z? No.
So far. Oh yeah, let me ask this too. What do y'all think it's gonna do musically? Like, hell, what is it gonna do to the music artists and the music industry? What do y'all think is gonna happen to that with this whole act?
I don't think it really affect them. Like a lot of them get like I'm not gonna say a lot of them get released on bond because you got like Thug and Gunna who are being denied bond. But I don't know, they get tricky because I think Ricos are tricky anyway though. So that's neither here or there. But usually a lot of I think it's a money game, which is why I think that I enjoy so much that they're allowing people to be able to leave without bond because it's a money game. Like if you you can pay your way out of anything if you got enough money. It don't matter what you did, who you did it to. None of that matters if they can keep getting money. Um, Look at R. Kelly. And so I think that this man, he didn't got. I think the only reason this man is in jail today is because he lost a lot of money. But if he had his money, that man would be out in the streets doing what he been doing for the last 24 years. But yeah, I just think that like everybody with that little bond, with the little bond situation, I think everybody will be on the fair on like common ground, regardless of your status or how much money you have or how much money you don't have. Because artists do it all the time. Artists can build themselves out all the time. And go be what they.
Depends on the charge, but yeah.
Yeah, depends on the charge. But again, like she said, it all depends. Because realistically, I don't think it's going to affect them. They need to have hard standard evidence to actively detain them.
I mean, you gotta remember that they're using people's lyrics to arrest people.
That's not hard enough evidence.
That's really not like
Yes.
your job is to rap.
It
That's like telling the actor, "Oh, we gonna use this scene." Your job is to write music. People got writers. You don't. They didn't say your shit had to be true. Your job is to just go up, and make music.
They're proving it to be true.
Yeah. How?
Why I need to be true?
Because the things they're saying, a lot of times, what's being said in these songs are true.
Yeah, but it
bringing
doesn't.
up actual names.
That's why I don't think. Yeah. That's why I think.
mean, yeah, of course you
They're
can
bringing up actual names. They're telling you actual places.
This little Rico case that's going on.
But the thing is, they have to actively prove what they're saying is actually genuinely true. They have to go to those places and find evidence.
So by the time you got hit with a Rico, your ass is doing your time because a Rico don't just pop up. Like they've been on your ass for a minute. So by the time you hit with a Rico, that's all the little evidence they needed. So the fact that like lyrics are being used, I don't think lyrics is the only thing that got them niggas sitting on not being able to get a bond right now.
And that's what I will definitely agree on.
So but they didn't get some shit.
It just takes detectives to actively do their job.
I'm just saying, I'm using that as an example. As in, that's what they're doing to artists now. Or they're using your lyrics against you.
So this push artists to be more creative with their lyrics, or
stop fucking dissing.
I don't even think it be like people like to brag about bullshit that they do. Like, and I'm gonna use Thug as an example. He don't even gotta be in the streets, but for some odd reasons he will not leave the fucking streets alone. And he enjoys being in all of this. He enjoys rapping about all of it. He got so much shit going on. He rap about so much other stuff, and yet he don't mind letting you know that he done caught a body over here,
Oh,
here, here, and he can break the scene down for you, and he can talk shit, and he can tell you how, like, you know, they watch this, and this.
Hello, Saw. How are you doing today? Sorry, Kayla. I didn't mean to
Hey,
interrupt
hey,
you.
hey.
What's the word, y'all?
I don't
turn
think
I'm
your
that they
doing
camera
good.
on, ugly.
because
What, nigga?
Turn your camera on, ugly.
not
I
the
can't do that right now.
looking like somebody auntie at a picnic. I mean, uncle at a picnic.
I look like somebody's uncle.
Yeah,
I
that's
got
what
the
your
Cause I got
profile
two.
Casamigos.
picture look like.
I got the Casamigos. Anybody trying to get some of these Casamigos?
I got the Casamigos with Fricos.
Hey,
Yeah,
I'm waterfalling for you, baby. You ain't gotta
Where the
get no
Fricos?
cup.
Where the
y'all
Fricos? He
funny.
like
You don't need
Daddy.
no
He
cup.
like Daddy from Friday.
You don't need no cup. Here, open your mouth. I got you, baby.
Why y'all trying to clown me though?
Yeah, trying to find
Casamigos.
Anyway, what besides clowning her?
But
So
yeah, I don't think it's fair to be able to use lyrics because we wouldn't go into somebody's actor life and be like, oh, they did this movie and they
It's
were
a
like, X, Y,
different
Z.
thing.
But I
it's
only say that I only
We
say
know
that
this is an actual
because
movie.
it's true. But I think, especially in our
I
younger
think a
people,
better analogy would be taking an artist's book and actively claiming that it's real.
yeah, there we go. Because I think a lot of our
If
artists,
real bodies were found from this book, yeah, it's real.
I think a lot of our artists, or especially our younger artists, say a lot more shit than they've actually been able to do because everybody wants to be thugs these days. So everybody gonna talk about doing X, Y, Z. And I think a lot of these, especially these young ones, ain't did shit, ain't been in the mud, ain't
I
did
ain't
half.
saying everybody.
That's not everybody, but
Ain't
I
everybody.
think a
a
majority of our
good
uncles, homies,
percentage of them has
just
not
talk
done.
shit. Just like everybody be like, oh, they got all this money, all of this, all of that, and just like MTV Cribs, like a lot of artists and lifestyles be for show, and so same way with music. Like some people just lie in music because lying in music has always been a thing, and so I think if you already got evidence and in your rap music is saying it, then bitch, you did that to yourself. But I don't think it's fair to just go off of rap lyrics, and in this case, by the time you get with a RICO charge, just go ahead and don't even pay for a good lawyer. Just go ahead and plead fucking guilty because they own your ass.
It's like
Yep.
50, 60 years, Shorty. You get life. 50
Oh,
years.
okay,
For
then what you
real.
gonna do? Fight it and then what?
Realistically, you
You
snitched
get
on
out.
yourself. You were actively confessing in your music.
Might get out. You never know. I might get
You
not
might
guilty.
get out.
You might
You
get out.
might.
Yeah,
You
Might
that
might.
get
lawyer
out.
gotta be A1.
But anyway, to answer your question was how would this affect the music industry? So, since you only here for a good time and not a long time, can you answer our question?
Oh, you talking about me or you talking about Z?
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir. I'm talking
Oh.
about you, sir.
Can you repeat the question one more time?
The question was, how will the PURGE Act, aka the Safety Act, affect the music industry?
Cause if this is the route that they want to go down, then um they can't be mad when bodies start turning up. You know what I'm saying? Like if you can't even evict somebody from your own home with you can't even call the police to evict somebody from your own home, that you have to use your own reasonable force, as they said, without breaking the law. That's impossible. That's
No, it's actually pretty easy. All you have to do is do a warning shot first, and then if they don't leave
I
or
told you that. That's a Georgia law, though.
oh, well then never mind.
Well, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like, if I find out that you in my crib and you not trying to leave, something's about to happen, and I
You don't
might
have
not
to kill
like it, and
somebody
you
to
might not
leave
like it.
though.
yeah, you don't have to
But
kill them
but
to
if
leave.
they not trying, I'm not saying that I have to kill them. I'm saying, or you know what I'm
And you can
saying?
still shoot them. Like it's certain self defense. Like as long as they back
Yeah,
not,
you can shoot him in the foot.
it was
The
like
knees.
yeah, you can shoot them in the foot and then call them. You can call
Tory
the police.
Lanez.
Yeah,
Tory Lanez,
there's a couple ways you can get around some shit, especially when it's self
man.
defense.
I'm sorry, y'all.
But I still feel like it's
Don't
I still feel
cancel
like
us.
this is dumb.
We don't condone this. We don't
Please
condone
don't
this.
cancel us.
I
We do
condone.
not condone this.
Protect yourself.
Even though I don't care about cancel culture, please don't cancel.
I
Don't cancel.
condone protecting
Just
yourself.
cancel me.
We
Oh, you
condone
condone it?
protecting yourself.
Protect
We
yourself.
don't
Yeah, of
condone
course.
murder.
If nope, speak for yourself.
You know, hey,
Oh, I
you
meant
know,
the Meg joke. I said.
to each their
Oh,
own.
Anyway, continue, son.
To each their own. But what I was saying is like, I don't think that this is a good idea because you know the police are supposed to protect and serve, and now the they're taking the protect and serve out of the equation. What are the police here to do now? What's the police for? You know what I'm saying? If we have to assess the situation on our own rather than calling on the people who are supposed to to do that, what is where do you think this is gonna go?
I mean,
People are gonna end up killing each other.
they already.
Literally, the purge. I mean, yeah, but it's gonna be even worse.
No, that's not what this act is saying. Like this little bill that they want to pass is more so like instead of just
oh no, it's gonna be starting in January 1st of the new year.
year. Well, yeah, it's just to say that like they won't be holding a bunch of people. Like you just won't get held without bond, basically.
They can still.
Oh, what happened to the thing where if where they said that if a person, I saw a video where the dude was like if somebody's in your house and or somebody's in your shed, they living in your shed and you trying to get them to leave, but they don't want to leave, you can't call the police on them. And the police is gonna, if you call the police, all the police gonna say is use your own judgment to
They tell you
to
that
deal with the
anyway, though, bro.
situation.
Yeah.
They tell you that anyway. They tell you when you get there that these situations are civil and they can't do nothing in a civil matter.
So this
So they
won't be
already telling you that already.
Well, good thing I don't find myself in situations like this.
Mm-hmm.
I never will. Man. But that's still like, I thought if you trespassing, I can't call the police on you for trespassing. I gotta throw you out myself.
I don't know, different laws for different states are different.
Yeah.
Because I know like when COVID was happening, even the landlords couldn't kick people out.
Well, that's different.
So like
Just turning the
to
light.
have like
Oh,
to be
I gotta
honest,
do
like
it.
to have somebody living in your shed, that yes, that's trespassing, and you can use reasonable force to get them out of it. You don't gotta kill them to get them to leave.
Nah, my dog trying to shoot.
Yeah, I
He trying to
am.
blow.
Supposed to be the person.
They trying to blow.
But you
Yeah,
can
I totally
He's
understand.
gangster. Remember what I told
However,
you earlier? Gangster. Everybody
you can
gangster.
shoot a buckshot as a warning shot, and
mhm.
then
Everybody
like,
gangster. Everybody trying to blow, man.
not
Or you can
everybody's
see
trying to blow, but
the bullets. That hurts.
yeah.
True.
Keeps you moving. They leave.
Mm-hmm.
It works. It works. They might have a dislocated arm, maybe.
It's not my business.
Not my problem. You said
Probably
use
dislocated.
reasonable force.
I guess that's what you don't want to do.
You go to the hospital, they just
But see, then you
We
gonna
don't
get in trouble
condone
though.
violence. YouTube. We
You
don't
might get in
condone
trouble though.
violence. We're just saying there's options.
You might get in trouble though, so watch out with that.
You say use reasonable force.
That's not reasonable force.
They didn't leave.
I mean, yeah, but reason you even if they were leaving and you kept shooting, and
Now you
No,
can
I
never,
stopped once they started leaving.
you can never shoot when they back turn.
exactly.
Like ever. Like whether it's a buck, whether it's a you don't shoot when some like I think it's a lot of stipulations to self defense, which kind of sucks because because sometimes people know that. Like so you mean to tell me that somebody can walk into my house and be like, "Oh, my hands are up and my back is turned. You can't shoot me," and you really can't shoot them because
Realistically, you can't.
I mean, you can, but it's not reasonable force. You're going to jail.
that's what I said. And you can't overdo it. Like so you can shoot, but you can't empty your clip on somebody saying it's self
You're
defense.
going to jail. That's what I just
You're
told her
going to
earlier.
jail.
You just told you that earlier. You can't just keep shooting this person. You're going to
There's
jail.
still gonna be one thing left.
That's where it get
You're
complicated.
going
Because
to
I
jail.
get out. There's still one
You're
here.
going
if
to
I shoot you in
jail.
my house, I don't want you to still know where I stay at. So in my mind, I kind of gotta finish you, but I kind of gotta unalive you. But if I do that, then I'm gonna go to jail.
You
We
are
don't
cold blooded.
again, YouTube. We don't
My
condone.
family stay in this house. I know what? No.
She said, "I gotta unalive you,
I'll
man.
be on the
That's
polar.
how it
Anyway,
goes."
it's kind of going around that time where we gotta go. So everybody, please introduce yourselves one more time for these people.
What's the deal, yeah? My name is Saw. You can follow me on Instagram at official.s.
You hush. You wasn't here. You hush. Go ahead, Caleb.
Man, doesn't matter.
You hush. You
You
be
go.
quiet. You wasn't even here. You didn't say no freaking intro,
I
outro.
told you when I
Anyway,
was coming.
his
You
information
hush.
is down below.
Hush.
You can follow him on Instagram. Anyway, Kayla, go.
Hey y'all, my name is Kayla. Y'all can follow me on Instagram at Kayla Moon. It's right down there.
Z, your turn.
I'm at the bottom. Y'all can follow that at the bottom. You already know what time it is. It's your boy Z Hundo, man. Follow me at ZHUNNO_. You know. Now I saw you can say yours.
Dang, I was gonna say it for you because I thought you weren't gonna say it. I thought you was just gonna say it was at the bottom. And I was gonna be like, "It's your boy Z Hundo." Ooh, I was about to do it.
Go ahead. Since you want to do it, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm gonna do it next.
No, I didn't. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Erase it. Go ahead.
Okay, it's your boy Z Hundo. Y'all already know what it is. Y'all can follow me. That's how you be. That's how you be.
That was it. That's all. That's all I say. That's it. You need to spell it out. Nothing. All right. Okay.
No.
Go ahead, Saul. You can say yours now.
You can follow me on Instagram at official.sc.
Bro, stop with the deep voice shit, man.
I'm not doing no deep voices, bro. That's how I talk.
I told you that's
follow
the
that.
uncle. That's the.
Y'all are funny, bro. That's just
This is
He
the
been getting
quiet
his keep
storm.
sweater on lately. He been getting his keep sweater on lately with that voice.
what?
Yeah.
Keep sweat.
This is
No,
my
man.
90s R&B
It's the
voice.
Sweat Hotel.
This is my 90s
Anyway,
R&B.
y'all can follow me on Instagram at Mocha Voodoo. All of our descriptions are at the bottom. And please, for the love of God, subscribe so you can always get that notification. And always subscribe, like, and follow. We love you guys. Have a nice day. Bye.
Peace, love, and happiness.
You killed it.
Yeah.
Such a great host. The one and only. The one and only.
Wow.
Damn, y'all just not
Damn,
going.
Saul. She said, fuck you.
Wow.
What are you talking about? Who? You gonna end the live?
No, she's talking about Mocha.
Oh.
First of all, don't do that.
Wow, you started throwing shade.
No, I was just literally just giving more
No.